Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be a homeopathic tutorial on Aconite napellus, and this is the remedy that we use most often for shock. So if there's been a physical or emotional trauma to the body that produces anxiety and a fear of death, then this is the first and most important remedy to use. So I want to start out by just showing you a picture of what aconite looks like. Its other name is called monk's hood, and it's kind of a purple flower that's maybe the foot off the ground here. It is quite a toxic plant. Even rubbing the flower and the leaves can make the heart start to palpitate. So I don't recommend anybody doing that. I don't recommend anyone making a tea out of it. Or if you are going to pick it, then you want to pick it with tongs or something like that. Put it in a plastic bag. But there's really no reason, because it's not something you can really use as a tincture. Like a 1 in 10 dilution would be extremely poisonous. So what we do is we'll take the tincture and we'll send it to a homeopathic pharmacy, and they will dilute it 30 times, and then it becomes safe to use. So a 30C, a 200C, something like that. It's not an herbal remedy. It's not like calendula. You can actually you can macerate calendula flowers, the marigold flowers. You can put it in olive oil or something like that, and you can make a nice salve out of it. And you can do that with arnica as well. But aconite is much too toxic. It's probably equal in toxicity to arsenic. So we can't use that in material doses. We can only use it in homeopathic doses where it becomes completely safe. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a remedy that we use for trauma that causes fear. So if there's been a physical trauma, like someone's been in a car accident and they went into shock because they had a fear that they were almost going to die. They could maybe see the other vehicle coming towards them, and they, moved out of the way really quickly and hit a barricade, and the other huge truck went whizzing by. The heart would be palpitating, and the person would go into shock. Maybe they would be hyperventilating and breathing unevenly, and their whole body would go numb and tingling, and everything would feel like it's just slowing down, and they can see their life passing before their eyes. Then this is an absolutely perfect situation to give a dose of aconite, and you want to give it or take it as soon as possible, right after that shock. And within a very short amount of time, the person will come right out of it. They will feel like, well, yeah, I just had a car accident, but I feel okay. There's lots of situations, though, where aconite is indicated. Like I said, it could be a physical trauma, but it could be emotional trauma. Like maybe if you were in a place where there was some kind of violence going on around you, there was some fighting, or you heard some guns going off, and it was dark at night, and then you heard footsteps behind you, and you're like running, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? Like have to escape from something. It could put somebody into shock, and aconite would be the remedy to bring that person back to a normal state. I had a patient once who was up in the mountains here, and it was snowing, and she went around a corner and she hit some ice, and the car spun around a couple times and hit a barricade. That wasn't too bad. I mean, she probably went into shock a little bit. She got out of her car, was kind of looking around at the damage, and then a minute or two later, another car came around the same corner, hit the same patch of ice, and started coming right towards her. So she jumped out of the way. That car hit her car and also the barricade. Anyway, it was a very close, what she felt was a near-death experience. And when I met her, she said that whenever she got into a car, she had kind of PTSD symptoms. Her heart would start to palpitate. And so a year later, she was still suffering from this anxiety, from this near-death experience. I gave her a dose of Aconite. I think she took it 2 or 3 times, and she said she was completely fine. So the other situation, so any kind of vehicle accident, plane accident, train accident, anywhere where there's, sudden panic and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're going to die, then Aconite is needed for, could be an elderly person, could be a little child or whatever. But also it's a natural disaster, such as an earthquake, and there's glass falling down beside you, something like that, or just you almost die because you had to get out of a building before it crumbled, or you saw somebody else get badly injured and it puts you into shock. That's also an Aconite situation. And like I said, there's often palpitations, trembling, numbness, tingling, rapid breathing, and there can be nightmares, and you can kind of re-experience it, or you hear a loud noise and it puts you back in the experience, or you're going over a bridge and you feel trapped and it reminds you of something, and you keep re-experiencing it over and over again. Then that's when the person needs Aconite. And like I said, it's best to give it right away, but if it's 6 months later and there's still symptoms, you can take it, or a year or 2, whatever. It's still going to effectively heal that part of the body's defense mechanism. Anyway, if you want to read more about Aconite, there it is, Nature's Way to Better Health. You can take it as a granular form, and you can take it as a liquid form. Either one. Try 30C, 1 dose first. If the symptoms come back a week later, take it again. Take it once a week if it's a chronic problem. I've had some patients who have had a frightening experience as a child, and then later on develop panic attacks that come on very suddenly with great intensity, where they hyperventilate and feel like they're going to die. So this is years later, and I was able to give them Aconite, once a week until all the healing had taken place, and they no longer had the panic episodes. So it's a very effective remedy. It's one that you should definitely carry in your first aid kit, because when you need it right away. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to the next one. Bye for now.